also immigrants. We just wanted to know how your background as an immigrant influenced your career and your achievements.
Okay. Okay, hi everybody, my name is Mengdi. I came to USA, New York from China when I was 13 years old, and with my family. My dad had a business here, so he traveled back and forth, and so also inspired me to get in business as well. For whoever is sitting here who went to LaGuardia High School, I'm also the alumni for Fine Arts, and I'm a Parsons graduate for fashion design, and the famous designer really inspired me to work hard and to get into Parsons. For those who don't know about Parsons, Marc Jacobs, Alexander Wang, Donna Karen, Jason Wu, Alexander, I think I said that before, are all from Parsons. So it's such an honor to be here.
Awesome, thank you. So can you also tell us more about your experience with Michelle Obama's Better Make Room campaign?
I went to one of the Grow Up event at Washington, D.C. So if you guys are interested, you guys can sign up in growup.org. That's one of the campaign hosted by United Nations Foundation. So to inspire girls to, just like GALS, in leadership, young women's political science in different industry field. So that's when I met a friend, and she was a Better Make Room alumni, and she introduced me to the White House intern who works with Michelle Obama on the Better Make Room campaign to inspire more kids to go to college. And I sent them my work before with my teen girls designs, and they're really interested and featured my design on their social media channel.
And then also, can you talk a little bit, I know you touched on Girl Up, can you talk a little bit more about your experience at the United Nations?
For you guys, everybody who are interested in working with the United Nations or UN Women or Children's Fund, you guys can just follow them on Twitter, Facebook. They usually have events, and you guys can just go. Everybody can just go. You don't have to sign up, but sometimes you can just register your name. And they have different goals. Like the ones I'm interested in are education and gender equality. So if you guys are interested in these topics, you can definitely join us. And sometimes my friends are interested in environment and other topics like in children's or other global topics can also join us. So you guys just follow the UN Women Twitter or UN Women for Youth Twitter.
So this question kind of goes out to everyone here. What has been your proudest accomplishment in your life or career so far? Just anyone who wants to answer?
Hi, I'm Susie. I have 2 kids, and I've been married for 15 years. And I have to say that's my biggest accomplishment, being married for 15 years. It's a lot of work. Don't underestimate it. And it's really a beautiful thing. So I just wanted to kind of put that out there.
Sydney?
Can I take it? I would say that my biggest accomplishment was pretty much, last year, so I'm part of a Canadian Scout troop, and last year I earned the Chief Scout Award, which is like the highest award in the Canadian Scouts, and it's the equivalent of the Eagle Scouts. And I'll just give you like a little bit of background. I'm part of the Canadian Scout troop because the US doesn't allow in girls into the Boy Scouts. So the Canadian Scouts is pretty much the equivalent of the Boy Scouts, but it is co-ed, and in almost every other country, Scouting is co-ed as well. So I would say that would be my biggest accomplishment.
I think my biggest accomplishment is being a volunteer for the Chinese Olympic team, for the Chinese swimming team as their volunteer translator. and it was such an honor to work with them, the best coaches and the athletes, to help them, because I'm a sports fan myself, so usually I just watch YouTube videos of the coach and the athletes interviews and their behind the scene documentary, because I know they put a lot of hard work and blood and sweat into their sports. So when I was in Melbourne this time, back in January, and it was like a big honor to work with the Chinese swimming team, and the coaches really inspired us to work hard and motivates us the best. And I would like to thank my coach in the Olympic team, especially Coach He, for inspiring us to work hard.
Awesome. So Susie, this question goes out to you. Obviously, I'm not a mother, but I want to know how your role as a mother inspired the creation of Bibbitec, because it obviously correlates with being a mother. Because a lot of time I know, like, entrepreneurs found companies based on their real life. So just talk about your experience.
Okay. Well, as you guys mentioned, I'm an actor, so I had no intention of inventing a product at all. I didn't have what you guys are having here, like this very entrepreneurial mindset at a young age like you guys have, which I think is amazing, and I was honored to be invited to be part of this, and it's very important for me to be here today. So what happened was I had one child. His name was Jaden. He was very sweet and neat, and he was perfect, and I thought I was the best mother in the world. I didn't understand why everybody was having such problems with their kids, because they weren't as good as me, I guess. And then I had a second kid, and he was crazy, and he never sat still. His name is Mason, and he liked to get messy, and he began this ultimate frustration of laundry, and that's kind of how it started. And Sharktank was starting as well. So I was sitting on the couch breastfeeding and listening to Sharktank and wondering what I would invent if I was an inventor. And it just started to kind of trickle in my head. But I did say, I'm going to get on that show one day. I remember thinking in my head, and this is why I want to talk to you about a dream. I don't know if it was something that I had seen, like in a vision, and then all of a sudden I got on Shark Tank, or it's something that you just make happen because you are determined to do it. I think there's a little bit of both. But it kind of came from just having a messy child, and none of the products worked. And I learned later when I did present them to Target that they didn't want them to work. And that became very evident to me that women are very, very powerful because they are very much focused on as far as purchasing. I think it's very important what you purchase, because you're basically creating a society with every purchase you make. So that's what the point of my product was. So does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay.
So can you talk a little about the timeline of how you thought about the idea and kind of how you went about it?
Sure. Mason was born in 2006. So I'd say I was super frustrated by 2008. And I was on a plane, and I was trying to look all cute, and my son was spitting up on me, and I had bought all these things at Target and bought all these bibs, and I remember feeling like maybe if I just find the right product, I'll be a good mom, because that's what advertising does. It tells you if you just buy the right product, you'll be better, you'll be good, you'll be pretty, you'll be this, right? So even though I do commercials, you still buy into it, because you're thinking, maybe, I don't know. So my husband was wearing a fitness shirt, and my little Macy spit up on him, and I instinctively just wiped the shirt off. And I was like, wait a minute, that would be really cool as a bib. So that was like 2008. I spent a year looking for fabric. I thought I was going to have to invent fabric. And I would call up on the phone and be like, the idea was I was never going to buy a bib that didn't work again. That was just what I decided to do. I stopped shopping at Target. I never shop at Target. I know, it's crazy. But I met them, and when I pitched my product to them and they laughed in my face, I said I won't shop there. So unless I really have to go there, I don't go, because their goal, at least to my point of view, was to make a bib that doesn't work and only lasts 3 months, and then the moms just keep coming back in. Like, it's like they called it a bait product. So that was 2008 to 9, looking for fabric. Found a scrap of fabric by calling up and asking companies for samples. I told them I was a manufacturing company. Made it up, I'm an actor, and I asked them to send me samples. So instead of shopping, I would get packages of free samples of fabric in my house, and it was awesome. And then I would put them on my counter, and I would open up my refrigerator, and I would spill everything on them, and then I would try to wipe them off. And the goal was that it wouldn't stain, it wouldn't smell, and it would dry instantly. And I couldn't find anything, And I had my husband drive like 8 hours during our anniversary once in North Carolina to a company that promised to make a fabric. And while I was in the car, I reached into my bag and I found this tiny little piece of fabric. And I was like, I didn't test this fabric. That's weird. And I started to test it, and that ended up being the fabric. And he was like, we just drove 8 hours for you to find a piece of fabric in your purse. So that was like, say that's 2009. Then I entered into the Miami Herald from Miami Business Challenge. And I was still just, I had made the design and I had given it to a friend and I gave it to 3 friends and nobody called me back. So I thought that they didn't like the product and I felt really like insecure about calling them back. So finally I called someone back and I said, what did you think? Like, oh my God, I forgot to tell you, we went to Disney World and we used it the whole time and it was really awesome. And I was like, oh, thanks. And so then I told the other one, oh my God, I own a baby store and you should always make this product because none of my products work this well. And I was like, because if I hadn't made that call, in my mind, in my story, I was like, they didn't like it, or else they would have called, you know what I mean? So that was like, okay, so then I entered in a business challenge, and, oh no, my friend went to a farmer's market, sold a bib, or told the person about a bib and said I needed a website. Websites weren't around at that time. So this is going on, so think about it. I didn't air till 2013, and so it's quite a long story, but let's see, 2008 to 2013, that's 5 years, 8, 9, 10, 11, yeah, 5 years. And then we actually we just closed the company. 2016. So yeah. So,
That just goes to show how much work is put in.
Oh my God, yeah. And you know what? It's so important. Just from an actor's point of view, when you're in a play, the most important question is the main objective. What's the main objective of your character? What's the purpose of your character? What are you trying to do? What's the part of the story that you're trying to tell? And for me, the part of the story I was trying to tell was a mom can make a better product. And if that's the point, and I didn't go to design school, then what's the problem here, right? What's the problem? And I just wanted to make that point. That was the point I was making. Just took me a really long time.
Oh, don't put that away. So I know a lot of people kind of want to know if you could talk about your experience going on Shark Tank,
Oh my gosh.
what it was like talking to the sharks, how intimidating were they?
Okay.
Talk about that.
Yeah. All right. So I told you I saw the show and said in my head, or thought in my head, or envisioned in my head. I will tell you now that I teach this acting class, it's the vision. It's very important that you accept a vision. I don't think you get a vision unless you're supposed to follow through with it. Okay? So if you have a vision, please keep it safe. Don't tell too many people that might be naysayers because it takes a lot of work to protect it. And so I had it in my head. And then I was, one day, I had sent it, my sister was like, you gotta go on Shark Tank. I'm like, but I don't have enough sales yet. So I just sent an email that said, can a bib change the world? www.bibbitec.com. That was what I think got me the first call. So that went out, and it was like 4 in the morning. I wake up at 4 in the morning, and I always know it's very important. Whatever that thought is, I have to do it. So I did that, went back to sleep. And again, if you wake up in the middle of the night, it's probably your creative energy talking to you, so don't naysay that. It's important stuff. And then one day I was just kind of in my house, and it was really quiet, and I remember thinking, sit down. Which I don't normally do, so I sat down, and my phone rang, and someone said, hi, it's Heather. And my sister's name is Heather. And I was like, hi, Heather. She's like, so I want you to pitch Sharktank, pitch Bibbitec to me for Shark Tank. And I was like, this is weird. She doesn't sound like Heather, my sister. And I was like, what? She's like, and I'm looking at my watch, and I'm like, I have to go pick up my kids. And then I was realizing while I'm talking that this was a girl named Heather from Shark Tank. And I remember I was on my phone. I'm like, yeah, I can pitch it to you, but my kids are 15 minutes away, so let me. And I remember talking to them on the phone, very like pitchy, which I had been practicing at the farmers markets that I was also going to in holiday shows and blah blah blah. So that's important to go to things to practice your pitch, because you never know when someone's going to call you up in the middle of your day and ask you to pitch your product or pitch your idea or pitch anything. So practicing and being in front of people is very important. So I had it in my mouth, I had it in my mind, I had it in my heart. And I pitched it, I made her laugh, and she's like, all right, we'll get back to you. And then we got an email, and then we had to make a video, and then we had to be taught how to do the video a little bit better. And then my husband was like, I want to be on the thing with you, because you don't know that much about finances, and they're going to eat you alive. And I was like, okay. So we went through that, and then we flew out to LA. They fly you to LA. And the thing was, I had just read that they had made someone a deal and they had gone bankrupt. And I thought, I don't really want a deal. I had already had partners, I had to get them out of my company. They already had made me go to China, or wanted me to develop in China. I really didn't want this product developed in China. It was very important. It was done in Miami. And so I was very strategic when I went onto Shark Tank, that I was trying to talk to the moms. I wasn't actually going there to get an investor, because I knew an investor would want to go to Target, thus they would want me to go make a less product to get into Target to go to a big box. And I knew that wasn't my journey. And I knew I was going to have to figure out how to negotiate that situation. So I remember waking up 4 o'clock in the morning, again, the night before. I go to the little gym in the hotel, I work out, I get my hair and makeup, I do it myself, and I'd forgotten my makeup, so I had to go buy new makeup or whatever. So it was like crazy, but I had, my favorite number was 4, and I had decided that I was going to ask for 40% for like $40,000 for 14%. I was just going to make up weird numbers and drive them crazy. But it was very scary, and I knew it was going to be very scary because they said the minute you step on that line, we roll camera and we don't stop. So take acting classes, again, because improv, pitching, with lights in your face, with sharks staring at you, is really intense. It was one of the scariest, most intense acting experiences of my life. And I will tell you, it was 100% acting. Because you're pitching your product, and it has to be so incredibly important what you say and how you say it. So there's a moment, if you do watch it, where Mr. Wonderful says to me, now mind you, I've watched 100 of these shows because I'm going to get very good at what they're going to say back to me and what their lines are. And he said, oh, take this bib behind the barn and shoot it. And I was so shocked that this line was being said to me that I started to laugh. And they had also told us, make sure this is very important TV, because we're not going to say air your show unless it's good TV. Now what's good TV? Drama. So I start laughing, and I'm like, I can't laugh, sorry. I can't laugh. I know they're not going to air my episode, so I like instantly, I'm like start crying, and I get really upset that he could call, right? And then I was like, poof. So now I had to humiliate myself entirely to be on the show. But I did get, and that was important, to be vulnerable for me and to be honest and try to talk to the mother past the sharks. And the minute we aired on Shark Tank, my company sold within 4 weeks $60,000 worth of bibs. I did not get an offer, I did not want an offer, and I negotiated that situation. Damon almost got me, to the front line. But I knew that Bibbitec was part of my journey, not my entire journey. And when you get an investor, I had had them before, it is a very different game. It's not your game anymore. You have to know that this is really what you love.
Definitely encountered numerous obstacles. A lot of people sometimes don't understand the full story, like why I want to be in the Boy Scout program, why not the Girl Scouts instead, and pretty much it's mostly people that just don't understand the full story and don't really always want to hear the full story. So I think definitely but the people that do care to hear what I have to say, because I want to join the Boy Scouts to go on the camping trips and to earn the Eagle rank and to earn all of the ranks, because the Eagle rank provides a lot of opportunities for right now just boys, and it's not available to girls. The same equivalent isn't available, and the Eagle rank opens up opportunities for college scholarships and job opportunities, and there's a huge alumni program with the Boy Scouts, and girls don't have that same opportunity, and I think some people don't understand because they haven't been through the same thing. They don't understand all of the benefits that come with being an Eagle Scout.
I think my challenge will be dealing with different manufacturers, since I design bags and sometimes I have to travel between China and here to produce the bag, and sometimes maybe I think how Western field portray China, sometimes think the quality is bad or anything like that. So sometimes when I explain to the factory that you have to focus on the details to make sure every single details are right, not just saying perfect, but it have to be at least sellable. Otherwise, sometimes they think, okay, when I get the product, I just produce it, I'm done, but that's not how you make a good product. I think that's a more attitude problem. I think that's because my background comes from working with the sports team, and that's what the coaches taught us, that the attitude towards everything, towards your work, are the most important thing. Especially the experience I dealt with the athletes. Sometimes they just are maybe not so polite or too rude to the people around them. These are the ones didn't make to the Olympic team. So I think being nice and being kind to the people around you, and no matter how hard, sometimes the athletes also cry. They face different challenges, like they don't get their scores up, or they don't get the time they wanted to swim. But the coaches always say to us, at least, like, if you work hard, obviously the people around you are gonna help you. If your attitude is like bad or rude to others, like, nobody will keep helping you. So I think that's the most important thing.
So Mengdi brought up a good point about, your attitude in asserting yourself in the workforce. So kind of to all of you, have you ever experienced a time where, you thought your voice wasn't heard because you're particularly a woman, or you're a little more assertive? If there's anything that you've encountered before.
I think yes, and I'll say that most of it was based on my own issues. The product that I came up with and the idea that I came up with was really clear, but I didn't have enough confidence in myself, and I let a lot of people into my company that knew better, that I believed in more, that I thought had more wisdom. And that was not such a great thing. And what I learned through Bibbitec was that there's a gut reaction to things, and you've got to learn to trust it. And when you don't trust it, it's going to come and show its face soon enough. So just be aware that other people can guide you, other people can help you, but in your gut, let yourself really feel, is this really truly what I feel like I think is the right thing for my company? Because many times people tried to brand me like Martha Stewart, which was wrong, and she was a woman that did that. It was, again, my insecurity or listening to the other people in my staff. I had a friend that came onto my company with me, a girl again. She ended up suing me, and I ended up having to, we ended up in a not, well, we didn't get to suing, but there was a contract issue. It was really kind of like, I was really upset. I had another partner, and he also wanted me to go to, not to China, but he wanted me to do something else with the product, and I had to kind of use my, I had to figure out how to get him out of the company. So, I mean, you gotta just be, I would say develop your own sense of self and not worry about what other people think about you. Just get yourself strong, and that's the best way to move forward. And that's what I'm doing now at my age.
I think also getting used to rejections, because I code email, or usually I code email because I have to send designs to different editors. So sometimes if your email doesn't go through or whatever, doesn't don't let the hit you or anything like that. Just keep sending, because I remember I was in Parsons and I would stay up 3 a.m., 4 a.m. to send to Teen Vogue editors. So you have to keep sending them. Sometimes they're busy, then they forgot. Sometimes they get the email get lost. So you have to keep following up. But obviously not every 2 days, but maybe every 2 weeks you follow up, then to check on the status. So I think if you have a good product, the editors definitely are willing to help you. But sometimes if they didn't, it's okay. Maybe reach out to different media also.
Yeah, just to add on to that, I completely agree. And I also think that something that everybody really needs to remember is to continue to know what your goal is, and continue to be persistent and have a lot of determination to get to your goal. So yeah, definitely send emails to whoever you can get their email to, and just continuing to spread the word about your product or what you're doing. And yeah, I think that's really important to stay, continue with your vision and don't give up until you have reached your goal.
Yeah, and also sometimes chase after your idols are also really important. I chased after mine, Martha Stewart. She was at the book signing promoting her new vegetables book, and I always have like so much her cookbook, and especially I think I earned her the Martha Rules book about young entrepreneurship. So I chased after her and showed her my design, and she really was very encouraging. So I think depends on your design and like and they are definitely willing to help you if you show them like you appreciate their work, and also definitely they are willing to support you and encourage you.
To my mind was my mother, and she was a stay-at-home mom, super creative. I thought she was nuts, and I was always annoyed that she stayed at home, even though I was lucky to have her as a stay-at-home mom. And so for a long time, I was always quite like, you know, she could have done so much more with her life, blah, blah. But now looking in my relationship now, I respect her so much, and I really honor her so much. And even though we are different people at different times in the world, and we have different opportunities given to us, do not resent the women in your family for their journey, because their journey got you to where exactly you are. So I just want to say that I respect my mom, that's it.
I think one of my idol I mentioned before is Martha Stewart, because her attention to details about her product, her books, her TV shows, everything really taught me as a young entrepreneur to pay attention on these details, because that's the small things what makes the product good. And every time she wrote a book, it's talking to us customer directly, instead of it's like teaching you on a very formal manner. It's like a friend telling you what to do. I think that's what she taught me about studying your customer and reach out to your target market.
A really big role model for me is Hillary Clinton. And regardless of any like political opinions or anything, I think that she's a really strong figure, and she, although she's a woman, she was able to break down barriers, and that's what I'm trying to do. She was able to get so far, and I think that she's just like an incredible person. Yeah.
Oh, and another idol of mine is Serena Williams. She's always inspired me to work hard, and when I went to Melbourne, that's why I went to see the Australian Open, to see her. Even though she lost, but she got back up again this year to win Wimbledon. So I'm like such a big fan. From my own experience, especially on crowded subway, and I usually maybe look at a cell phone or read a book. Then sometimes I have to like look at on the street, people touch their backpack to make sure their zipper is closed. So that's why I came up with this idea to make sure nobody can touch your items. So that's the idea. And this design was featured in Michelle Obama's education campaign, help girls' education and more kids' education. So anybody interested can visit misslocker.com, because I feel like bag is like girls' mini locker, so it's called misslocker.com. Thanks.
And then one last question before we open it up for Q&A. What do you guys have planned for the future, and what are your long-term goals?
I want to create a content company, online and live content that's based on honest and authentic messages, because the media right now and what we're seeing, I don't believe is doing that. So I want to invert the process. So I want actors to be on top, and then companies to support what they're doing, rather than companies here and actors supporting what that's going on, because the truth that I have found is some of the only people that can really speak honestly and aren't scared of losing their job or their position happen to be artists. So if artists are working for the companies, it's kind of backwards. So I want this kind of inverted concept. So in 5 years, like it'll be like a different version of Vice, but for the feminine. And there'll be live content where there'll be a show, a play, that, like, for example, the one I'm working on, and stories about women-centric, not just women, but women-centric stories that are untold, that we might not have known about or thought about, and then just outreach programs that are part of that. So that Creative Shelter becomes a content company that is online and live and creates connections.
I will continue design more safe and secure bags for teen girls and continue work with the United Nations on different projects helping girls and women as well as kids to provide a better education. And if anybody interested in college or in the education field, we can definitely stay after and talk to work with the Michelle Obama's education campaign. So sometimes they give away free scholarships, so definitely can help you guys with that.
I'll continue to push the Boy Scouts to letting girls for the Boy Scouts, like once they letting girls, which will hopefully be soon, for them to support everyone in their program. Also, regardless of sexual orientation, gender, and anything of that, just to support everybody in the program.